I think that my biggest win right now is just seeing how far Fundibots has grown.
Definitely.
But 2017, I did mention that I almost had a mental breakdown because I had to close two of my companies at that time. Companies that, and the thing that many people don't get is that for us as entrepreneurs, companies are like our babies. So you spend everything you have to bring this thing to life, and then one day you have to shut it down. And so it was a really painful experience for me having to basically close those two companies. But it was one of the tough decisions of where do I need to put my energy, and I needed to put my energy in the thing that had a future. And so those two companies were really struggling with payroll. I mean, I've talked about this a million times. They're struggling with payroll, we're struggling with clients. We had clients, but the Ugandan system, I'm going to call out advertising agencies that are great clients in terms of volume, but very horrible clients in terms of payments. And so it was really this very difficult time. And so I had to basically shut down the Node 6 and Elemental Age, which were my two websites that were, sorry, my two companies that were focusing on technology, but business like website development applications, and then multimedia, visual effects, TV, etc. But I'm glad that I did that because from that moment on, Fundibots began thriving. And I'm really glad, I'm really happy for where it's reached right now. And again, it's an exponential growth. This year, we are poised to serve almost 19,000 students. Last year, we served about 10,500 students. And in the 10 years before that, we served 11,000 students. We're basically growing pretty exponentially. And so I'm really happy. I think also one of the wins that I like to celebrate is my team. We have grown in a very chaotic manner, but we've sort of always come together to learn, to grow, to improve. And I really wish every single time that, people mention, oh, congratulations, Solomon, for doing this. I'm like, I wish you knew how much of this is the team. And I just can't list everyone. But Fundibots would not be here without the team of amazing, fantastic people that work tirelessly, whether it means that they are there to clean the office, or they're the ones writing programs or looking for grants or going to meet government officials or writing curriculum or going to schools to teach. Every single one of them has played a very critical role. So for me, that's my biggest win, like just seeing this group of people come together to continue building this movement that we hope one day is going to transform the continent.
Lovely. Teamwork makes the dream work. Isn't that what they say?
That is what someone very specific in our company says. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. So let me just read a few of the comments. Miss D. Wanga, sorry, I misgendered you. You're actually a lady. I had called you Mr. But D. Wanga is saying, good for you, Solomon, for debunking the myths. And Asha has a question for you. She's saying, what are your thoughts on inspiring kids to take up AI-related work, like engineering or technology, in light of the challenges of internet affordability and reach in Uganda? Please consider how persons with disabilities can also benefit from this.
Yeah, that's a really critical thing for us. We have all intention of working with people with disabilities, of providing learning for people with disabilities, but we are financially constrained. So there's a school that we operate in that has learners with physical, with sensory disabilities. I think a few of them are deaf. But basically, this disability is very, very high on our list, but we need to be able to provide resources towards that, which includes designing curriculum, designing trainings, training people, hiring people, etc. And so we are thinking of that. It's not as immediately doable as we would like, but we are definitely considering that. In terms of helping kids adapt into the world of AI, my first statement, I'm not a parent, but I work a lot with kids. And so one of the things that I like to tell parents is, first and foremost, let your children be children. Many times we are obsessed with the idea of my son or my daughter needs to be this thing, and that thing is a dream maybe the parent has, like maybe a doctor, scientist, etc. I'm like, give your children every single opportunity to explore the range of person they are, and whether it means that one day they're playing soccer, the next day they're becoming a ballerina, the next day they are playing video games. The childhood process is about learning. It's about helping your child understand who they are, but also helping them become who they want to be. And you'll find that over time they will gravitate towards their personality, and that's how you'll find that all these things that are natural suddenly begin coming out. Obviously, it means that you might need to have certain financial resources, because it's not easy if one day your child is asking you for a full soccer kit and then the next day they're asking you for a piano or a guitar. It's not easy. But by exposing them to different things like the internet very carefully, YouTube, certain shows, you're able to see how they gravitate. But most importantly for children is for them to go out and play and explore the world. Early childhood is a very social interactive experience. Then the next step, of course, for that is education. If you're able to find an education system that allows your child to be holistic, so they teach computing, they teach IT, they provide sports, extracurricular activities, etc., then go for that. Unfortunately, the majority of us are stuck in an education system that purely focuses on academics. So to that, I would say invest in your child. I know that it is hard, especially for those from under-resourced backgrounds in government schools. I would advise parents just personally invest in your child's life. Whether it's, and again, I get a lot of grief for this because people are like, oh, you're not a parent, you don't understand these things. But what I do understand is children. And I do understand that children have certain needs that, if are not met, are going to result in challenges with their academics and their futures. So as much as possible, spend time with your child, listen to them, talk to them, play with them, see what actually makes them tick so that you know how to help them become better. And then on top of that, once you're done with all that, then you're like, okay, so there's this thing called AI. How does it fit into this world that we are doing? And we are still very early stages. I'm not sure if there's a lot of material out there for young children to study AI, but there's material for young children to study about robotics. Fundibots also provides some of those. We'll definitely be looking into providing AI services. And just for clarity, 95% of Fundibots' audience is upcountry, rural schools. So we really, really put our energy in the government schools that are underserved. So I might be talking all these things and you're saying, yeah, but you're talking from a point of privilege. No, we actually work with really, really underserved populations. So it's a trifecta. It's bottom line, it's about effective and present parenthood, and then on top of that, it's about layering skills development opportunities for a child, and then on top of that, now it's layering the artificial intelligence, fourth industrial revolution, etc., which can be gotten from the internet through good education opportunities or exposure to different ways of learning. Trying to be mindful of time. But yeah, that would be my very rough advice.
Wow, thank you so much. That is quite encouraging, and it's good to know that you actually work with I didn't know that, actually. I'm just finding that out right now, that you're working with, most of your students are upcountry.
Yeah,
that is amazing. So in the essence of time, just one more question from here in studio. Everyone is dying to know, are you single? Are you married? You are putting me on pressure. So
I am single. I am single.
Oh.
Life is complex. So I am single.
Okay, so those who asked the question, I think you've had your answer, so go and shoot your shot.
It's March 24. I can't do that.
So let's go to the poll right now. I think there's some background noise. Someone, if you could mute. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Yes, please. Smart 24, could you mute, please? Oh, yes. Are you asking a question? Yes, please.
I think
because it's a very good topic, especially when it comes to techpreneur, because you're all talking about techpreneur, and it's just for the big people, for these high class, the high end people. What about these low end people? What are you going to do about them when it comes to tech entrepreneurship? Because you cannot tell me that someone in the grassroots understands computer that much. So what programs do you have that can help them to also be a part? Because they are also entrepreneurs, but what programs do you have that can help them also be part of this techpreneur system? Yeah, that is my question.
that's a so first and foremost, I find it very uncomfortable when they are called lower people. I'm like, wait, what are lower people? So I'm really hoping that you meant the underserved communities. So Fundibots actually works with those people. Like I mentioned, about 95% of our audience is rural areas. So you'll find schools where you basically travel for like 1.5 hours outside of an urban city. Actually, my own village recently had a school that joined Fundibots, and it is a very, very rural village. And so we work a lot with those populations. And we do teach them computer, we do teach them robotics, we do teach them coding. We actually go with computers to help kids learn these things better. It's not very easy to sustain because, we go with our things and then we come back with them, but we are trying the best that we can do. The other thing is that we also have a program called Fundi at Work, and even though we are just trying to get it off the ground, we work with underserved, actually for this specific program, it's designed to work with out-of-school youth. And these are basically kids who've dropped out of school, more often than not, O-level or A-level. And obviously, most people who drop out of school are people who do not have the resources and who are from underserved regions and communities. So we, as an organization, are actually working very actively to address the holistic need of the country, not just prioritizing areas that are easy to reach. In fact, one of the messages that we keep sending our donors is that, can you give us the money to go deeper and deeper into the villages? And so we are doing that. I also know that there are other players that are trying to work with those communities, like maybe youth in the slum areas, and then youth in the upcountry areas. So there are people doing that, and they are talking about entrepreneurship, they're talking about technology. And also because we firmly believe that the people who are best placed to solve solutions are people who are rooted or embedded in those communities. So to the person asking from Smart TV, Fundibots is doing that. We don't have enough money to do it across the entire country or across Africa, but we are doing our part. And this year, I would say that we are providing learning for probably more than 8,000 or 9,000 young people in that situation of underserved or hard to reach areas.
Wow, thank you so much. It is good that in the Fundibots community. So I don't know if we have any other questions from our listeners. Let me just check the chat and see. Gerald is asking, who or what inspires Solomon King? Gerald is asking who or what inspires Solomon King?
Wow. Who inspires me? I feel like that's a really, really tough question. I feel like I'm inspired by challenges. And some of those challenges are when I see, like, for example, when I see a young child struggling with something. Like, I recently met a kid outside of our office gate who doesn't know how to read. And so my question is, how do I help this child read better? So I'm inspired by the challenge of helping that person. But in terms of like business leaders, Gwynne Shotwell, the president of SpaceX, is one of my heroes. Bob Iger, the current president of Disney, is one of my heroes. I used to have other heroes who have, well, I won't mention names, but they've basically shown that they are not as heroic as I once thought. One of them just recently bought a huge social media platform, so I'm no longer as inspired. But basically, my inspiration is the challenges that the world has and the people who are living within those challenges. My inspiration is always like, how can I help that person get better?
Okay, that's good. So Jay, I hope your question has been answered. That's about Solomon's progress. I think he has achieved a lot despite the dark ages. Thankful nowadays we have free courses online and free academies such as Aga Khan Academy, all Ivy League institutions that have free courses. Please use them. So she's giving us some pointers. You don't have to pay for some of these things. There are courses online that are offered, and you can go and get the techniques that you need. So we are running out of time, and I beg that those who have other questions, you can post them in the chat and Solomon can respond via Twitter, via the Twitter chat. But as we wind up, I would like to go back to our poll. We were playing a game called 2 Lies and 1 Truth, where Solomon gave us 3 facts about himself. 1 is true and 2 are lies. So he said that he can mingle posho. He was arrested for stealing sugarcane, and he published a book. So Solomon, the time has come. Please tell us, tell us which one is true. Oh, wow. Published a book. So, Solomon, the time has come. Please tell us, which one is true.
The true one is that I was arrested for stealing sugarcane. This was, wow. I think I was in I was in P3, actually probably P2, P3 in Lugazi. And those of us who grew around the sugarcane plantations kept stealing sugarcane. And one of those days I was arrested. Of course, I was released, but it's still a memory. It's a core memory for me.
It's a core memory.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. I really wish we need to have another session on this, and we'll make sure we organize one. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing all this insight. This has been very interesting. It's been very engaging. This is the most engagement we've had. People really want to know your story. So we really need to bring you back here. Maybe as a host next time. Yes. So thank you so much, Mr. Solomon. Thank you so much. The FLI handle, so you can also check that out in case you're just joining us now. I would also want to remind our listeners that as FLI, we are having a FAT Fellowship program. It is a leadership training program that runs for 16 weeks. So we are going to start our second cohort in the end of June, and we urge people to apply. Please apply, send in your applications. You can check out our website. The link is on our Twitter handle for the Fidelis Leadership Institute. Check out our website and find out more information about the fellowship and how you can join. Otherwise, I would like to wish all of you a good evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you next Thursday. Thank you. Yes, please.